In the profound silence of the vacuum, there is no such thing as nothing. Even in the deepest reaches of space, the universe hums with virtual particles, reminding us reality is never truly at rest. This same restless energy governs the architecture of your consciousness. We speak of the tiny detail. We're talking about the signal-to-noise ratio of the human soul. Every second, your sensory organs are bombarded with approximately 11 million bits of information. Yet your conscious mind can only process about 40 to 50 bits per second. This means 99.99% of reality is discarded before it even reaches your awareness. You are living in a highly curated, ultra-compressed version of existence. The detail that changes everything is the filter. If you change the filter, you literally change the universe you inhabit. This isn't mysticism, it's cybernetics. Your brain acts as a governor on an engine, limiting your perception to ensure your biological hardware doesn't melt down. From the sheer intensity of raw data. Let's look at the prefrontal cortex (PFC), the CEO of your brain. The PFC is responsible for executive function, the ability to filter out distractions and focus on a single goal. But there is a biological cost to this focus. It requires an immense amount of glucose and oxygen. This is why, after a day of intense mental labor, you feel physically exhausted even if you haven't moved. Your brain, 2% of your body weight, consumes 20% of your total energy. When we talk about quantum thinking, we are really talking about the optimization of this energy. In a state of entropy, your thoughts are scattered, firing in random directions, wasting metabolic resources. But in a state of coherence, your neurons fire in a synchronized rhythm. This is what athletes call the flow state, and what philosophers call self-actualization. In this state, the tiny detail, the way you breathe, posture your spine, frame a challenge, flips a switch. It flips a switch in your neurochemistry. You move from survival mode to creation mode. Survival mode, dominated by the cortisol-soaked amygdala, to creation mode, powered by dopamine and acetylcholine. Let us dive deeper into the biochemistry of belief. Every thought you produce is a chemical event. When you think a thought of fear, your hypothalamus signals your pituitary gland to release a CTH, which then tells your adrenal glands to flood your bloodstream with adrenaline and cortisol. Your pupils dilate, your heart rate increases, and your blood is diverted from your digestive system to your limbs. You are prepared to fight a tiger. But in the modern world, the tiger is often just a thought, a worry about the future or a regret about the past. The brain cannot distinguish between physical and mental threat. You remain in a state of chronic stress. This stress physically shrinks the hippocampus, the area of the brain responsible for memory and learning. This is the tragic feedback loop. Stress makes you less capable of learning how to escape the stress. However, the wow factor lies in the reversal. Through intentional meditation, cognitive reframing, and scientific understanding, you can trigger BDNF. Think of BDNF as miracle grow for your brain. It repairs damaged neurons and encourages new growth. By simply changing your intellectual perspective, by choosing to view a threat as a challenge, you change the physical structure of your brain. Now, consider the observer effect in a psychological context. In the double-slit experiment, photons behave like waves until they are measured, then collapse into particles. In your life, your attention is the measurement tool. Whatever you place your attention on collapses. It collapses from a wave of infinite possibilities into a single, concrete reality. If you focus on your limitations, you are collapsing the wave function of your life into a particle of lack. If you focus on the mechanics of growth, you are collapsing it into a particle of potential. This is the intersection of neurorealm and quantum physics. We are not just passive observers, we are participatory creators. The tiny detail is the intentionality behind your gaze. When you look at a tree, you aren't just seeing wood and leaves. You are seeing a complex biological algorithm. It has solved the problem of gravity and light for millions of years. When you look at yourself, are you seeing a fixed object or a flowing process? We must also discuss the default mode network, DMN. This is a collection of brain regions active when you are not focused. When you are daydreaming, ruminating, or thinking about yourself, for most people, the DMN is a source of misery, because it is where the ego resides, constantly comparing the self to others. But through the lens of philosophy and science, we can learn to deactivate the DMN. When you engage in deep scientific study or creative work, the DMN goes quiet, and you experience self-transcendence. This is where the mind spark truly happens. A larger cosmic system of energy and information. This realization changes the scale of your problems. On a neurobiological level, it reduces systemic inflammation and boosts the immune system. Science is now proving what ancient philosophers sensed, that a shift in perspective is a shift in biology. The concept of entropy states that all systems move toward disorder. Your brain is a system fighting this war. It uses information to create order. Every video you watch on MindSpark Science, every book you read, and every deep conversation you have is an anti-entropic act. You are feeding your system high-quality information to maintain the structure of your consciousness. The tiny detail that changes reality is the quality of the information you consume. In an age of digital noise, choosing to focus on depth over speed is a revolutionary act. It allows your nervous system to settle, your synapses to strengthen, and your energy grid to stabilize. You become a high-coherence individual, someone whose thoughts, words, and actions are aligned with the fundamental laws of the universe. Think about the social brain. We are wired for connection. Our mirror neurons allow us to feel what others feel, creating a literal neural bridge between individuals. When you share knowledge, you are not just transmitting words, you are syncing brainwaves. This is why community is essential for scientific and philosophical growth. We are a collective intelligence, a global nervous system trying to wake up to its own potential. The detail that changes reality here is empathy. When you understand the neurobiology of another person, their fears, their biases, their struggles, you no longer react with anger. You react with the precision of a scientist and the heart of a philosopher. You see the glitch in their system and you help them recalibrate. Let us reflect on the infinite nature of the mind. We have mapped the genome, photographed black holes, and split the atom. Yet, the most mysterious object in the known universe sits right between your ears. It is a biological supercomputer, capable of simulating entire worlds, traveling through time via memory and imagination, and questioning its own existence. The tiny detail that changes everything is the awakening of curiosity. Once you realize your perception is a construct, you are no longer a prisoner of your circumstances. You are the architect of your own neuroplasticity. You are the pilot of a quantum vessel navigating a sea of probability. The fear you feel is just a signal. The pain you feel is just data. And the limits you see are just the current boundaries of your map, not the territory itself. You are a spark of intelligence in a vast, dark cosmos, and your purpose is to glow as brightly as possible. By understanding the mechanics of your brain, the psychology of your behavior, and the physics of your environment, you are reclaiming your power. You are turning the noise of life into music. This is the mission of MindSpark Science, to provide you with the intellectual tools to rebuild your reality from the inside out. We don't just want to tell you how the world works. We want to show you how you work, so you can decide how the world should be. Before you leave this moment of deep reflection, take a deep breath. Feel the oxygen entering your lungs, being carried by your hemoglobin to your brain, fueling the very neurons that are processing these complex ideas. This is science in action. This is the miracle of the mundane. You are a walking, talking miracle of evolutionary engineering. Don't let that spark go out. If this journey through the corridors of the mind and the cosmos has resonated with you, it is because your system is ready for an upgrade. You are ready to look at the tiny details and see the grand design. This is MindSpark Science. If you are someone who seeks the why behind the what, who isn't afraid to look into the quantum abyss and find a reflection of themselves, then this is your home. We invite you to become a permanent part of this intellectual revolution. Subscribe to the channel right now. By doing so, you aren't just clicking a button. You are making a commitment to your own growth and to the pursuit of truth. Like this video to help the algorithm find other sparks out there who need to hear this message. Share it with someone whose energy grid needs a recharge. And most importantly, leave a comment below. Tell us, what is the most impossible thing your mind has ever accomplished? Let's start a dialogue in the comments that challenges the boundaries of what we think is real. Thank you for staying with me through this odyssey. Your attention is the most valuable resource in the universe. Thank you for investing it here. Stay curious, stay bold, and remember, the detail is small, but the change is infinite. Subscribe to MindSpark Science, and let's keep exploring the frontiers of reality together. Until next time, keep your spark alive.